So tin cans, also quite interesting in my world. I could use lots of examples. I'm using this one. Tin can was a technology that liberated ships, and in this case the Royal Navy and our exploration ships, to allow those crews to live better, healthier, longer, exploring the world. Unfortunately, then taking people with guns, shooting everybody when we arrived, and taking them over. Well, that's past history. We don't do that today. But the bottom line is tin cans were a major technology when they came out. So as an interesting opener for 10, question for Ted. So how long was it before we invented a tin can opener? The first patent, there's a website up here you can go to, the history of the tin can, which is reasonably sad, I would suspect, but nonetheless, if you want to go, you can look it up to see the provenance of this. How long was it? Was it 6 months? A year? Must be 2, surely. I don't know, how long do you think? 10 years, very good, 48 years. And I can assure you, we are doing exactly the same today with new technology.
But let me ask you, how many of you have received training on LinkedIn, Microsoft Office, or Google Drive? No one, right? And it's that knowledge sharing, I think, is really key to L&D's success, and which proves how our involvement in wider business initiatives brings value. Not just sharing the information we're given for training, but shouting about what we're good at and emphasising how we're not just in training or learning and development, we're in performance.
You know, when I talk to community managers and they say, you know, I feel valued now, I'm part of the community or the organisation now, people trust me because I'm a subject matter expert, or they come and reach me because of what I'm doing. So this real sense of belonging, having that mutual support from other people in the community. Often, you know, they're all upskilling, they're learning, they're being faster, quicker, better at what they're trying to do. People want the same things that they have externally, internally. They want to ask a question quickly and get the expertise back internally and trust the expert that's supplying it.
Over the last 18 months, we've worked with a number of global organisations and kind of using insight and research and evaluation to work on projects kind of around kind of, you know, using customer experience, user engagement, user experience to drive kind of communication campaigns. And whilst they all individually worked and actually, you know, did create a kind of level of engagement, what we've discovered recently is when you kind of have a coordinated approach to it and package all these things together, it amplifies massively the kind of effect of the engagement that you get with the entire organisation. And we use these stories to tell the story of the brand in colleagues' own words. So we weren't going out there saying this is what the new brand is going to be. We used the stories of colleagues to talk about what the brand was, what the aspirations were. And obviously, you know, peer-to-peer advocacy is such an important thing in our consumer lives. It definitely has a place in the workplace as well.
It's all about the people, right? So I am called the head of OCD, or the organisational capability. Somebody tweeted yesterday when I was speaking at another event, Dave's now the head of colleague experience. Teresa Proctor hasn't seen that yet, my boss, right? But I think I am the head of colleague experience. Why can't we take that knowledge and that skill set and that ability inside into the organisation and create a proposition in-house that's as compelling for our colleagues as it is for our customers, so colleagues as consumers. Digital is no longer a device, okay? Anybody that tells you that digital is a device, they're on a different planet. It's a behaviour. But it's here, whether we like it or not, it's no longer outside, it's in the organisation, it's in the building, okay? And as organisations, you need to kind of make sure that you're up with what's going on. I was asked this morning by Nigel Payne, what's your L&D strategy for the next 2 or 3 years? I haven't ever written one. I've never written an L&D strategy, ever. Because the world that we live in changes by the day. You need to be more nimble, agile, whatever the word is at the minute, okay? You need to be able to respond quickly to the information that you're coming in.
So we actually looked at what it is that has to happen on the ground in the workplaces for people to do their jobs better, to be more efficient, for our staff and our activists to work together better. So this is what we talked about, the organising space. There was a very early trade union activist in America in the 1800s. And his motto, I think he was executed in the end, but his motto was, don't mourn for me, organise.
I think we have a growing disconnect between how people learn, and I think this goes to what you said, how people learn in their everyday lives and how people learn at work. And this is a challenge we're looking at CIPD at the moment, because I think L&D, we have perpetuated quite an old model of learning. And I think all credit to you today, Charles, for bringing some really cutting edge thinking, but the reality is that much of the L&D profession is still struggling with delivering courses and whatever. So I think the challenge for us, the expectation for me, is that we've got to now adopt the kind of things that people are doing. So I commute into London and watch people on their iPads learning or whatever, and then come into an institute which historically has worked around courses. So I think that's the kind of expectation changes we've got. And I think I just noticed some things down here which I think you've already said though, so it's good that it's great that we agree. I think it's about choice, not prescription. I think organisations have often prescribed what people should learn and when they should learn it, and we're now in a very strong choice model. I think it's social, not formal. It's great to hear about communities today. We're in that place as well at CIPD where formal now is being trumped by social learning and social collaborative communities. It's in the flow, not sporadic. We've been very good in L&D of offering occasional interventions. We need to get far better now in the flow. People are getting their learning all the time. We've been great at providing feasts, and I think we've got to go bite-sized. People are far more around that. We were chatting about BBC. My son's currently using bite-sized for his GCSE revision. Absolutely fantastic. And I think it's lastly about user-generated, and I think historically I've been very good as an L&D professional in designing courses for people. I think we've got to get much better at letting them generate their own content.
You talked earlier about aligning the L&D strategy with the business strategy. I think if you're able to successfully do that, you're not aligning the strategy, you're informing the strategy, you're shaping the strategy. And actually, I think that's what's exciting about these changing demands, changing the nature of moving perhaps from courses to resources. It possibly alters the role of learning and development within an organisation and elevates it, I think, because it does exactly what you're talking about, which is unlocking not just performance but potential as well.